audience. We are somewhere subterranean environment in Scotland. And look what the cat dragged in. This big guy who is Harakiri or this guy. Coming from Austria, you are not exactly in the center point of this kind of extreme metal. How do you think your country, your environment, your scene has affected the music you do?
I think it comes quite natural because, you know, Austrians are fucking grumpy people, you know, there's not a lot of positivity, you know, our general mentality is to always expect the worst and then be happy about it if it gets a little bit better. So I think it's not so far-fetched that we have music that releases the a bit darker or negative parts of our personalities. You know, Austrians are mostly known for the greatest actor in the world, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then a bit psychotic politicians in the past, starting a few world wars maybe. Actually pretty good food. What else do we have? Mountains, yeah. Many countries have mountains. But yeah, I don't know. You can even find black metal bands in fucking India or somewhere, I guess.
That's very true. But it is already go with the logo. You have both the inverted cross and not so inverted cross. What's it all about?
You know, if you put it together, then you have the unequal sign. I mean, you can interpret a shitload into that, but you know, you don't have to go that deep.
Are you a controversial band?
For some people, maybe. I don't know. We don't aim for that only to be controversial, to shock people. I guess in the scene nowadays we might be shocked for being like less extreme than many other bands. You know, we don't use the imaginary of a lot of blood, corpse paint and everything. We just try to convey what we are and to keep it some way like how do you say it? Yeah, just how we are.
If somebody was calling you a hipster kind of a black metal, how would you react to this comment? Is there any truth or is it just mockery?
I mean, I don't know how you define hipsters, but it was pretty funny because in the beginning you always put us together with like hardcore bands that are always with their vegan stuff and not drinking, being all straight edge, and it stopped pretty soon because they realized that it doesn't really fit up with us. Because yeah, okay, of course the name might be a bit frightening for people who prefer something with like 3 inverted crosses in the logo, but in the end, when you get to know us, I think you will realize that we don't exactly fit the term of the hipster black metal.
Your music can be also described a little beautiful because you have these kind of melodies and parts that are not extreme in the sense of being raw or violent, but more in the kind of a beautiful side of life. Why did you choose to go in that direction instead of being what people expect in the extreme metal?
You know, that's the thing. I love fucking rough music. I love raw music as well as I like beautiful music. And the idea was to mix both up, like having nice melodies, but also like bringing some speed and some heaviness. You know? And I think, for me at least, it's interesting to combine those two things. That was, I guess, the aim when I write songs.
What inspires you most when you create new songs? Kind of music or atmosphere, movies, literature, games, whatever?
I think everything in your surroundings inspires you somehow. Maybe like people you meet or music or movies that you said, but you know, sometimes for me it's really rare to discover a new band that really, you know, catches me. I say, fuck, that's a great album. It really happens very rarely because we just have so much output, like you have 50 albums coming out every month. And if there's one that's really good, then I think it somehow subconsciously inspires me. I sometimes catch myself to like reusing melodies of something I really like. Fuck, okay, I cannot use that. But you know, I think it's natural. Nobody does this on purpose because nobody wants to copy anything. But I guess everything that impresses you kind of influences you in some way.
I think there was a saying by a famous painter who actually said that kind of imitation or kind of copying context is the greatest level of flattery. Do you agree with the statement?
I think I could, yeah. I mean, just to look back to this wonderful band, Led Zeppelin, where Jimmy Page just took a shitload of songs that he didn't write himself, but you know, he added a little extra. I don't want to compare that because I'm not trying to copy songs or steal from someone. But sometimes he took it to another level, just being inspired and maybe taking a bit too much from somewhere else. But I think it's nothing bad in a general meaning. So.
Let's talk about lyrics. What kind of topics inspire you? The lyrics then, and which topics you like to deal the most? Or is there any kind of a typical Harakiri for the sky of lyrics?
Yeah, there I'm the wrong person to talk about that because all the lyrics come from our singer. But it's always interesting to see because I write all the songs before, I send it to him and he adds the lyrics. The only thing I can say, I know this guy since over 10 years and every time he sends me some lyrics, and even though it's sometimes maybe including metaphors, I know exactly what it's about because he writes about certain times of his life. And so just, it's a kind of therapy, I guess. So it's not some, shallow shit, it's always something that really concerns you.
How much it means to have this kind of a real kind of a mental bond with your members? Or is it just enough to kind of okay, you know the songs, you can handle yourself on stage? What is the importance of this kind of let's connect?
I think that changed a lot over the years because in the beginning, of course, we looked for free live members so we can bring the stuff to stage. But over the years we really grew on each other, and now it's like a really strong bond that we have. When playing that many shows, I know it's like being together like in a fucking tiny tour bus, in a small space. You have to get along, and there are always ups and downs, but still. I would call everyone in the band like my closest friends. So that's very important. I couldn't just work with session musicians that I don't want to see after they go off stage. That wouldn't work.
So they have to be kind of brothers and friends.
Definitely.
All right.
I cannot stand with someone on stage who just does this because he has some fucking dollar signs in his eyes that he gets paid afterwards. I think it's very important that if you play something on stage that the people actually like it and can feel it.
So rental musicians are out of the question?
Yes. Sometimes we have to change like a session drummer because one has no time, but it's never someone random that I didn't know before. So that is out of the question, definitely.
All right. What about music created for like studio versus live? Which matters most and why?
I think both is important. I think I have it always in the back of my head when I create something for the studio albums that it's also somehow possible to put it on stage. If you have a third guitar, then you need a live arrangement to somehow include it that it doesn't, that something is not missing. That's important for me as well. But in fact, when I write music, it's just me at home with my fucking loop station, figuring out some melodies, and it's just step by step. I have a little melody in my head, and then I build the song around. And so far, there was no problem ever to bring it on stage.
If there was an ideal setup for your life, no boundaries possible. I mean, like if there's a maximum budget, you would go for Harakiri for the Sky type of live thing. What would you have on stage?
Probably a nice bar on the side of the stage and so on, because I never have time to stop who hands me a drink with a straw or something like that.
So you would need a waiter as well?
Oh, that would be fucking amazing. I'm happy like that, I'm perfectly fine with how it is. I don't need anything more. I'm happy with all the people in my band. They're great friends, and there is no addition from me that I want.
Are there places you would like to conquer as a band? Places you would like to go, but you have never been there just yet?
Oh, definitely South America.
Why South America?
Because I've been to Brazil a few times and I fucking love the mentality there. And people are passionate and crazy about the music. And just imagine playing there, that would be amazing. Just doing like a proper South American tour. I hope we can do it soon in the future. That's something I have to cross off my bucket list for sure.
Do you have, what kind of plans you have for, say, next 5 years? You are not exactly known for being super aggressive with your release schedule. Like you have a few albums out, but it's not like you release an album every year or two. So
it's ready when it's ready. I think we had like a time frame of 2 years always now. The next album is coming out next year. Why would you hurry and then release something that you're not satisfied with? Better take your time, and in the end you're happy with the release. But if you ask the plan for the next 5 years, of course I want to play in parts of the world we haven't been to.
So the South American tour 2022,
maybe earlier, maybe later, who knows. But I really like playing live. I still have enough ideas in my head to write more albums, so let's see. There's no definite plan, but let's see what the future brings.
I bet that many people don't get to discuss that they have lots of ideas which are not able to put in the band. I mean, the kind of ideas that people usually are put in side projects. What do you do with your grand ideas that just don't fit Harakiri?
That's the thing. I played in with band before, and that was the reason why I founded Harakiri, because there I was limited to some lyrical topics and musical boundaries. And with Harakiri, actually, I don't see the boundaries. I have influences from all kind of shit, like indie to black metal, whatever, and actually put everything in. I'm not shy. I don't think about it. That might not fit the audience. That's what's actually very, very relieving and nice for me.
So you don't have.
So there's nothing where I say I have to keep it for another project. I just make a song out of it and basta.
So you don't have any need to have side projects?
No, not at all.
Alright. What is the number one secret you have never told in public about the band or yourself, but now you want to go open about it? This is a surprise question.
That's a very surprise question. I'm fucking not prepared for that. I have no idea.
Me neither.
Is there any? I have no fucking clue.
No fucking clue. Okay, well, just wrap it up with one last question. If there was a tip for the starting bands, let's imagine you're the tutor, you're the mentor. This band hey, I have this question. How do I survive with my own band? What would be your number one advice?
Well, do the music that you really feel that you love. Play a lot of shows, and if it's good enough, then you will have success.
There you have it, simple and nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Likewise. So, take up on the note that in case you're not a musician, well, no, reason not to go see these guys live. They're good. I can guarantee based on a couple of gigs I've seen. And of course, check out their albums. They're beautiful, not your typical extreme metal, and fucking enjoy. This is all from Rauta, from Glasgowian, Glasgowian, Tunnel Underground. We're going back to the venue. See you later with more Rauta stuff coming your way.